Enough of this nerdy shit. Tell us about furries.
Oh yeah, all right. So I went to a furry convention, but I didn't actually go to a furry convention. What happened was I went to a concert. It was a K-Rock concert here in LA, and I was working it, so we had to stay at a hotel. And when we arrived,
RGB or RGF, real big.
Oh no, this was
RBF. Sorry,
it was a K-Rock weenie roast.
They
do it every year. And it's in Irvine. So in Irvine, if you don't know anything about Irvine, it's about an hour south of Los Angeles. Blizzard's located there. It's kind of this like really rural city with just a bunch of large businesses in the middle of it. Then everybody else.
It's mostly Blizzard.
Everybody else is very Orange County. They're all very rich and white. All the just kind of a boring community. Regardless, I went to the hotel, and when we show up at the hotel, the very first thing we see is somebody in a furry suit. Nice. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, why is there somebody? Why would they wear a furry suit to weenie roast? Little did I know, I walk in and they're having an actual furry convention in the hotel.
Badass.
But this furry convention is composed of maybe 75 people, like not very many. And there are some.
Everyone knows your name.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like literally everybody was like saying hi and yiffing and hugging and doing all that.
Nice.
There's occasionally there was a really good legit furry suit, but mostly people had those dumb hats with the ears or whatever. They're like my spirit
hoods.
Yeah, my spirit hoods. Blah blah blah.
That shouldn't count.
So
really.
I was like, laughed it off, haha, kind of like the Sonic event, no big deal, walk away. The next night, the show happens, we work the show, come back. Traditionally after a show, you get super drunk. So we all get super drunk in the lobby, which is normal. But
Furry Con is in 5th gear.
the Furry Con is in 5th gear at this point. Because it is like one step away from an orgy. You can kind of tell because everyone's getting a little randy,
Everybody's grinding a little bit.
and like
Pheromones.
we're drinking.
Yeah, pheromones.
The furries are staying away from us, but as more people start to drink, everybody starts to intermingle, right? Yes. So then you got all these like K-Rock kids, or just again like the Orange County like just punk rock whatever, and then furries. And as the night goes on, I just thought it was kind of funny because I was seeing furries talk to me or talk to other people through their masks. So they come and go, hey, and you couldn't really hear what they would say. So I would be like, yeah, like, and we would.
I'm an accountant. What do you do?
Did anyone have like a moving, articulating jaw helmet?
They might have. At this point, I was very drunk.
One of the creepiest
Doctor
things,
Strange.
basically. Well, I want
kinda.
to. Speaking of Doctor Strange,
It's my furry
or
name.
Things that are unsettling. Not to interrupt real quick.
Oh, that's
but
fine, it's fine, yeah.
There was a time I was talking to a furry, and the helmet actually like wobbled when he talked, except when his furry mouth opened, I could see his normal mouth inside. So it was kind of an alien situation where he had like seemed like the teeth would just jump out
Were
and
his
get you.
lips really dry and chapped?
It was. I could just see the light glinting off of like wet teeth through the mouth hole. Except they were like he had a giant furry head and then tiny little human teeth inside, and it was one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen.
Well, I'm glad you talk about disturbing because, again, when I was, we start. I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah, you're good. Okay, yeah. So anyway, there's a picture of me out there, like this, with two furries, one on either arm.
Nice.
And I look like the happiest little boy in the world because I'm so drunk and I'm so excited to actually meet furries. The worst part about the picture was when I did this because they were like, "Oh, just put your arms around me," and I was like, okay, yeah, all right, yeah. So we all posed for the picture and I put my arms around them and I do this, and no joke, as soon as it squishes in. And I felt moisture all over my arm, on both arms, both suits. They're soaked with sweat. And I was like, how is that possible? How could they sweat through the suit? And they sweated all the way through the suit. The whole thing was wet on their back.
Do you remember what their names were?
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, I don't remember their names at all.
Blue Bambi and
Frank the Trank.
Great White.
It was, that was probably the climax of the night because about an hour and a half later when you're really drunk. No, not for them at all. When you're really drunk. The best part was they were like, okay, there's gonna be a party in the suite. And everybody runs up to the suite, right? And
in the lobby.
and it was like
stink.
a bunch of our friends were saying, go there. So we all go to the suite. I walk in, I'm probably the first one there, and all I see are 20 people in furry suits standing at different corners of the room and nobody talking or moving. It was the weirdest thing in the world. They're all just like staring at me. And I walk in, I was like,
Your move, Bruce.
Eyes wide shut.
I'm gonna get a drink. That's exactly what it was. So I walked over and got a
the
drink.
virgin sacrifice is here. Come on.
It was really fucking weird.
You know my favorite cosplay story from G4.
The greatest story.
This is vaguely related to that,
That's the
but it
greatest
ties
story.
it back to Comic-Con. My favorite cosplay story is we were working for G4 and they had their stage for Attack of the Show and their Comic-Con coverage, and I was supposed to be producing the crowd, which means I had to find people in cool cosplay to get them closer to the front stage, and then the people that just wanted to watch got to get filed behind, so that way when the camera sweeps around, it shows a badass Wonder Woman or whatever and everything. There's this guy dressed as Black Suit Spider-Man, but he was a big dude that could have been Venom, but for some reason he had chosen I guess a false leather, like a plasticky kind of material.
Leather?
Gotcha.
Kind of like a pleather,
yeah.
like whatever that material is that probably your gimp
was gonna
suit may
say-
have been made out of.
No,
yeah.
because that was straight latex, but there were cheaper versions that were exactly what you're
It's
talking
probably a
about.
cheaper version because it didn't stick to him. It was
Yeah.
kind of had edges and stuff in it. Either way, he was in there, and then I remember he was standing there, and then I was like, all right, we're about to go live, so get ready. And then right before, it was 10, 9, counting in, and he goes, just the loudest, wettest sneeze. And then we were like, and we're live. And then so he was like, yeah, and we're out, right? And then he immediately starts going for the zipper, which is in the back. And then he unzips it, and he goes, and it's just mucus.
Oh,
And he was like, oh God, but he sealed it in the suit. And then so he got here. He just starts using the other part of it to kind of clean out his nose. And they're like, all right, we're back in 5. And they go, pull it back zips it shut. And then that was, and then after that, I was like, and we're out. And then he was gone. He just zipped out of the crowd and he was gone. Man, I was just like, it just what must have gone he's like, activate
Up in his eyes.
webbing.
credit goes to him though. He's a consummate professional.
Yeah.
Every time we went live, he had that mask on.
He was ready to go. He was going to get in that crowd shot.
Good for him.
Oh, God.